Regarding guitar transactions, artist relationships predominate. The world's most costly guitars are worn and polished, but their rock star pedigree increases their value. Hello everyone, and welcome to another video. Today, we will be looking at the most expensive guitars ever sold at auctions. Yeah, you heard it right. Bob Dylan's 1964 Fender Stratocaster, $965,000. Dylan performed electric at the Newport Folk Festival in 1965, carrying this Stratocaster from 1964, which he subsequently left on a private plane. It remained in the family of Vic Quinto for approximately 50 years. As depicted in the images from the auction catalog, the three-tone sunburst is essentially free of blemishes and discoloration. This Stratocaster was an excellent example of a pre-CBS model, regardless of its history. David Gilmour's Martin D35, $1 million. In 2003, David Gilmour stated on BBC Radio 4's Desert Island Discs that if he were stranded at sea, he would want his Martin D35. He claimed that this was the most beautiful guitar he possessed and that it was his constant companion. It was used on every Pink Floyd album between 1973's Dark Side of the Moon and 1995's The Final Cut, with the exception of Wish You Were Here, on which it was featured most prominently. Gilmour auctioned off 1969 D35 to benefit Climate Earth, demonstrating that it was not entirely necessary. Duane Allman's 1957 Gibson Les Paul, $1.2 million. Guitarists might be surprised to discover that the most expensive Les Paul is not a burst, but this 1957 Gold Top. Before Duane traded it for a Sunburst model, the guitar appeared on the first two Allman Brothers albums, and Derek and the Dominoes' Layla and other love songs. Allman insisted on keeping the pickups, so the burst's humbuckers have been inserted in this guitar. Former proprietor Scott Lamar frequently lent it out, resulting in Billy Gibbons, Kirk Hammett, and Derek Trucks, among others, playing it on stage. David Gilmour's 1954 Fender Stratocaster, $1.8 million. The collectability of this guitar would have existed regardless of its association with Pink Floyd. Its serial number, 0001, renders it confusingly not the first Stratocaster, that was #0100, but rather one of the first pre-production Stratocasters distributed to Fender and Dorsey's. Prior to Gilmour's ownership, the instrument belonged to country star Rex Gallion, and then to Seymour Duncan. The fact that it was also used to record rhythm sections reminiscent of Nile Rodgers on Another Brick in the Wall was solely a bonus. Jerry Garcia's Wolf, $1.9 million. The Wolf was a one-of-a-kind masterpiece created by luthier Doug Irwin for the Grateful Dead musician. It is the only guitar on exhibit not manufactured by a major company. Irwin created a musical instrument with a novel shape, hardware, and controls out of laminated maple and purple heart, an exceptionally rigid South American hardwood. A clever plate system would permit the interchangeability of pickup systems, and two outputs would enable Garcia to run his effects loop independently and switch it from the instrument. The Wolf was the highlight of a Grateful Dead auction that raised $1.9 million for the Southern Poverty Law Center, a civil rights organization. John Lennon's Gibson J160E, $2.4 million. The brilliant decision by Gibson to implement a pickup in an acoustic guitar gave rock and rollers the recognition they required. John Lennon used this guitar from 1962 to 1963 to compose hits such as I Want to Hold Your Hand, and to record the majority of acoustic passages on tracks by the popular band The Beatles. The acoustic guitar was featured on the Beatles' first US #1, Love Me Do, but it was seized during a Christmas concert in 1963. Lennon replaced it, and the Beatles utilized J160Es for the duration of their career. Reach Out to Asia, Fender Stratocaster, $2.7 million. The Reach Out to Asia Strat, which had never been played by a luminary, was auctioned for tsunami relief in 2004. The guitar has signatures from Mick Jagger, Keith Richards, Eric Clapton, Jimmy Page, David Gilmour, Brian May, Mark Knopfler, Ray Davies, Jeff Beck, Pete Townsend, Liam Gallagher, Tony Iommi, Angus and Malcolm Young, Paul McCartney, Ronnie Wood, Ritchie Blackmore, Def Leppard, Sting, and Bryan Adams. Kurt Cobain's Martin D18E, $6 million. In the summer of 2020, there wasn't much to do other than play guitar and engage in online auctions, which may explain why Kurt's guitar broke every record. Nirvana's legendary MTV Unplugged performance featured a spine-tingling cover of David Bowie's The Man Who Sold the World on a D18E. This legendary instrument is inextricably associated with Kurt Cobain due to the concert's broadcast and universal acclaim. The auction left the proprietor of Rode Microphones, Peter Friedman, with a bruised wallet. So, that's all from today's video.